Good morning. Welcome to Sunday morning meditation with Awakening Truth. And you're here with Brian and Kat. And we are looking forward to offering you a new year of meditations and going inside, looking at who we are inside. So I invite you as we begin just to inhabit your body and the space that you take up in the room that you're in. And you're welcome to do this embodied practice right before we begin this talk so we can land ourselves in this moment. So closing your eyes, feeling the breath out as the natural flow of experience brings us here to this moment. And as we feel the breath, we feel the body. The body has weight and density, and the body also is full of this breath and energy, this vitality. We can feel this vitality on the layer right below the skin. So as you feel your feet and feel your seat, just take a moment to take a seat here. And as we listen to the Dharma, we listen to the body in both forms, the weight and the lightness, so that any of the Dharma that comes into our being, we absorb in our heart. We absorb in the spiritual intelligence of this moment so that we receive just the messages we need right now. We let everything else fall away. We let it be simple. And you're welcome to keep your eyes closed during the talk, or you're welcome to open your eyes. And as you enter into this field of the presence of right now, this talk is about the moment when the Buddha sat down under a Bodhi tree. He had just found himself needing to come into a space. He had tried being an ascetic where he renunciated all his food. He lived on a grain of rice. He had tried many different yoga processes. And the extremes of his experience, from living with a lot of luxury and food in the palace versus his time living with very little, with just the grain of rice. As he sat down under the Bodhi tree, he put a hand on the earth and he watched as what's called Maya, the illusion, or these experiences of desire and resistance, as cravings to become something or someone or feel an experience. And he felt them so strong, so clear. And as he sat under the Bodhi tree, he became connected to the earth and connected to the four truths, the four noble truths, as he called them. And what is that word noble? Why did he come to this epiphany with the word noble? He recognized through his many hours of practice under that Bodhi tree that this is not for the faint of heart, this practice. This is one to address who we are in the present moment and address the challenges, the suffering in the present moment. And so that is a noble act, to decide to face our direct experience instead of go past it, eat our way through it, drink our way through it, fill ourselves with doom scrolling or scrolling on social media. Instead of bypassing, we have an opportunity, this noble opportunity And what do we think of when we think of noble? The ability to honor, the ability to persevere, somebody that continues, that is revered, someone that we look up to, that we aspire to be. So think of that person in your life right now that is noble as you listen to the Four Noble Truths. Is it an embodied individual who's self-realized? Is it someone who's recently passed? Both Brian and I sit with Thich Nhat Hanh for many years. We call him Thai. So is it Thai in his teachings? We can still connect to his energy, to his body of awareness because of the ways that he taught, because of his nobility. So think of your master, guide, teacher, inspiration. And he doesn't have to have a particular name. It's somebody that you feel this unconditional love and awareness. And as you bring them to mind, imagine them sitting here in front of you. You can close your eyes for a moment. And they're sitting here looking at you. And they're directing all their attention to you. And you see them through the center of your forehead. We call this the third eye in yogic practice. And as you become more developed in your spiritual practice, you begin to see the connection between your spirituality and everyone else's. And this being that sits across from you offers you this unconditional love and awareness for as long as you need, as much as you need, as you listen to the Four Noble Truths. They're holding you in the energy of revealing your true self here, revealing the direct experience that's happening in your life. And they're supporting you to feel it instead of doing it alone. It's easier with others. It's easier with the teachings of those that inspire us, and it's easier with their energy long after they've died, left their body. So the first noble truth as you sit with your guide is the truth of suffering. This noble truth is the quality of how all of life that comes into experience is going to change. So anything that offers us pleasure, pain, or neutrality will then change. And we call this a current or a wheel, something that moves, right? And there are two kinds of currents or wheels. A current that is stagnant, that's in an eddy and it's not flowing, or a wheel of suffering is what we could call it. One where we feel hooked, triggered, trapped in the experience of the suffering. So we have to self-soothe. We have to bring in the food, the drink, the social media, the distraction. And when we feel trapped by this wheel, we feel we've lost our power, we've lost our energy, our ability. This first noble truth of suffering is a motivation. Some people come to Buddhism, any style of Buddhism, and they go, oh, it's all about suffering. Well, it's also about the void, or what some call sunyata, which means that at the very basis of who we are, E equals mc squared, we are particles of light, right? The science of our experience. And we're not truly seeing in our perception who we are, the science and the spirit. We have this guide sitting across from us. We have this experience of the light of our body being so dense that we experience it as stable, But it happens to be, early morning here, so I do look kind of different with how Zoom picks me up. So this is good to talk about. So the first noble truth invites us into the cause, which is the second noble truth. What is the reason for the suffering, for being on the wheel of suffering, being in the eddy of the current where we're no longer moving and we cannot see where we're headed? We cannot feel the support of something moving us when it is always moving us. It's an illusion that we're not moving. Just as Buddha saw under the tree, he saw one thing before he acknowledged the Four Noble Truths. One thing, the middle way, not to be the ascetic who lives on a grain of rice, and not to be the man who lives on all the luxury that he grew up in the palace. He found a way in the middle of moderation. And so when you encounter the wheel of suffering, the experience of slowing down enough to be in the present. And yes, you can make future plans. Yes, you can reflect on the past, but they do not hook you. They do not drive your habits or your behavior. And what does start to drive your habits and behavior is the third noble truth. And this is the truth that there is a way to release the suffering. We call it the cessation of suffering. That wheel of Dharma will stop moving, that eddy of water in the current will eventually pick itself up and continue to flow. Now, does it flow into a place that's not going to support the longevity and life of your spirit, and your intentions and reasons for being on the planet right now in this incarnation? Is it going to be a challenging birth and death? Or is it going to be one where you go onto the wheel of Dharma, the wheel of truth, and you take refuge in the community around you? And you take refuge in the nature of the wisdom that you experience when you sit with yourself. Because you have that guide sitting across from you and they're illuminating, showing you who you are truly, showing you how to rely on yourself, your energy, your breath, your present moment experience. And so this third noble truth invites us to create new habits, and that shares the way to the fourth noble truth, which is the Eightfold Path. And the Eightfold Path is broken up into 3 sections. And the first one is this ability to shift your perception, just pivot it into the present, into someone that has fully self-realized, to listen to what they have to say, to listen to the teachings of the Buddha himself as they're written down. And as you listen to that Dharma, you awaken the Dharma within you because it applies to you differently than it applies to everybody else. Being self-realized for you is different than self-realized for Ty, different for Brian, different for Kat, different for each of us. And it is different because when we are here now, we have a different wheel of suffering and a different way that we pivot into the wheel of our Dharma, our truth, our reason to be here, our reason to show up in our community. And so there's a triple gem that we take refuge in this time of year, especially. And in many traditions, spiritual traditions, this is a beautiful time of year to reflect on the year and to affirm, where are we going to draw from when there's chaos, when there's people around us that we no longer agree with how they're living, using the resources, extracting resources without care for all of life. And so the triple gem is that Buddha nature, that wisdom that's within you, the Buddha nature of that guide sitting with you, unconditionally offering it to you to transform you, transform your mind. That Buddha nature changes you because it changes you from that wheel of suffering into the wheel of Dharma, from that place of not moving into a place of movement with the full current instead of going off here on a detour where the eddy gets stuck on the land, doesn't feel like it's moving fast enough. But all we needed to do was just shift our perception, shift the movement of our mind into that wisdom, that first part of the Eightfold Path. And as you feel this in your body, that wisdom, I invite you to place a hand on the heart. And there's two other parts to the Eightfold Path. Another part is this ability to act, our actions, our ability to be mindful. So these are our daily habits. So in this moment, as you feel your heart, as Tai says, there's a steadiness that comes from your heart. And this is a trust or a faith in the experience. And this begins with us coming back to the moment, trusting that we can be here for ourselves, face our experience directly, and that there's freedom there. There's a spontaneity that it can go. The thought can do whatever it wants to do. As Brian says in his beautiful meditations, it can be a cloud that passes by, right? And we don't attach to it as Buddha did not attach to it under the Bodhi tree. He let it be in moderation, something that flows past. And the final part of the path, Eightfold Path, is concentration. So there's an ability for us to find this compassion or this heart-based energy because we're at peace, because we took some time to focus, to concentrate, to be with ourselves every day, to be with our breath every day. Concentration means that we do it regularly. We cultivate the seeds that we sow. We water them regularly. And in that way, it becomes a wheel because the Eightfold Path leads us to the wisdom that the First Noble Truth is suffering, that there's a cause and there's a release, and there's a habit change and there's suffering, and there's a cause and there's a release, and there's a habit change with the Eightfold Path, right? And it keeps going. And it is so interconnected with itself that when you begin to study the Four Noble Truths, you feel the momentum of it. You feel how it drives itself forward, so that your refuge in the Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha, the community, you begin to find that the Sangha is the Buddha himself, is the Buddha herself or themselves. As Tai says, this is the modern context of the Buddha, is the community. And as the Buddha said when he lived 2,500 years ago, is 98% of the practice. So who in your life do you talk about this practice? So say this to your guide. Thank you for the time here during this Dharma talk. Bow to your guide. And in deep reverence, notice the connection you have with this guide that you'll come back to sometime today or this week and offer this energy of deep reflection of who you are, the wisdom within you. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, Kat. So I'm gonna proceed with a guided meditation. And the first part of this guided meditation is I'm going to invite a bell, and we're going to just be with our breath and absorb, like Dharma rain, the talk that we just heard. Just take a moment to feel your body, feel your feet and your seat. Just feel your space that you're in. And I'm going to invite the bell. We're going to listen to 3 full sounds of the bell. Listen to the complete sound of the bell from its very beginning to its very ending. Breathing in, know you are breathing in. When you breathe out, know you are breathing out. Just noticing the quality of our breath, not changing anything. Breathing in a long breath in. And a long breath out. Another long breath in. And a long breath out. Let the breath be natural. The breath, as we settle, naturally shortens, becomes quieter. Just observe whatever the breath is. Breathing in, filling the whole body. And breathing out. Just take this moment to check in with our bodies. Really feeling ourselves grounded, feeling the stability of our seat, and our feet, and our hands. Noticing any tension that may be in our shoulders or neck or anywhere else in the body. And breathing in, noticing, and breathing out, releasing. Breathing in, relaxing the whole body. Breathing out, relaxing the whole body. Let the relaxation of the body move into our foreground of attention and the breath ever present in the background. We drop into this deep relaxation. We feel a simple joy arise. The joy of being. And that being is cultivated just by our sanghas, our spiritual friends, our Dharma talks that we hear. Our practice is like watering a plant. And as we go through our day, we rely on the moistness of the soil, just like the Dharma rain permeates the ground. The moisture is there for us. Breathing in, relaxing the whole body. Breathing out, relaxing the whole body. And just notice the mental activity. Just watching it pass on by. Staying in that fertile, rooted soil. Which communicates to us with very, very quiet language. Just presence. And just letting go of mental activity, feeling the quietness and the inner wisdom. Breathing in, letting go of mental activity. Breathing out, letting go of mental activity. Just being here now, in this present moment. All our spiritual teachers point to this moment. The present moment is your true teacher. Not trying to change the present moment, just being aware of what is there and dropping into our fertile ground, our foundation of spiritual stability. And tranquility rising. Placing our attention on our spiritual eye at the center of our forehead. Breathing in to that space, to that center of our forehead, and breathing out through that space. Soft focus concentration, not a tight pinpoint concentration, just a soft focus, an openness, a spaciousness. And if it's available, allow that inner spaciousness to absorb our being. Breathing in through that spiritual eye. Breathing out, emptying, filling with spaciousness. And spaciousness is like the blue sky. And if clouds appear, just observe them passing by, these thought clouds. They can be puffy and white, or they can be stormy. But the awareness that the blue sky is always there. Different perspective. The inner spaciousness always available. Dropping into that inner spaciousness, being absorbed into that blue sky. It is the same sky that all of us beings see. We are all together on this path, though many don't know that they're on this path. their sky can be very cloudy. But there is still blue behind the clouds for all beings. This inner spaciousness, this place of deep peace and wisdom and quiet joy. In our formal sitting practice, we drop into this space. And as we go about our lives, it's easy to lose touch with this space. But the awareness that that space is always there for us nourishes us. It's always there, always available. And we can pause, take a breath, or feel our step. And bring back our groundedness. Just like the Buddha who reaches down and touches the earth, as the earth is his witness. We are all connected. We all see the same sky. And that blue sky is behind any clouds that appear. And then taking a breath in, quiet breath in, and a quiet breath out. Come back to feeling our feet on the ground and our hands and this sacred space that we are here in. Bring into mind our community, our teachers, the present moment. I'm going to invite the bell to close our meditation with two sounds of the bell. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you for being here.
Thank you. Happy Sunday.
Happy Sunday. Yeah.